Hello everyone, welcome back to the workshop. Today I'm working on a wand for Caleb Widogast. Now I know he doesn't actually use one in the show, but I couldn't really think of anything else to make for a wizard. Now I'm starting out with a chunk of small rebar that I had laying around my shop, and all I'm doing is squaring it up and drawing it out to a point. Well, mostly a point. I don't want it to be sharp enough that you could stab something with it, because then it's not really a wand, it's just a shank. But I'm going to be drawing it out to about 6-ish inches in length and about a quarter of an inch in thickness at its thickest part. And then I'm going to be cutting it into quarters at the back end so that I can make a dragon claw setting where I can set something special that could act as a focus. Now, all I'm doing here is I'm forging out that back end into a perfect square, and then I'm going to start cutting through it using a thin chisel. Now, there are a couple blacksmiths in the comments that will say that I need to have a soft plate under here. I do. I made a mistake, and I realized this later and put one under, I think on the third heat. And all I'm going to be doing is cutting this in half, folding one side back on itself so that it's out of the way, and then using a wire chisel to score the first line and then cut all the way through. So there's the soft plate. It's just a chunk of tin that I'm evidently not very worried about marring. And I'm also sitting there slightly terrified as I'm holding the tongs in between my legs, hoping I don't can myself. It's usually very helpful to have a hold fast or a second hand to hold the tongs. I sadly did not. And here I am just bending that piece out of the way. Sadly, I was a little dumb and forgot to remove the hardy. So there's the harder chisel, or the wider chisel. And I'm just using it again to score that area, and then I'll be putting the soft plate under to cut all the way through. And then using the cut hardy again to create that edge not as ragged, so I'm going to be pushing everything backwards onto itself slightly, making it a nice cleaner line. I also know that a lot of people will be asking why I'm not wearing gloves here, even though I'm dealing with something that's very hot and very close to my hand. A lot of the chisels that I have are very thin, and they're very hard to feel through a glove, so I run the risk of completely wrecking the piece rather than just having a warm hand for a small while, which, where I live, is pretty nice actually. I'm sitting in a small 8x8 room here that is at the ceiling about 40 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit for you Americans, but it's pretty warm. But outside, I believe it was about minus 16 degrees Celsius, and that's in April, so it's pretty chilly still. So as you can see, I'm just drawing out this secondary talon now. I'm going to be folding both of them back away from themselves like I did the first piece after they've been drawn out. There we go. And I'm going to be pushing that piece out and attempting to, there we go, and attempting to fold it back out and cut it again. This caused a little bit of trouble for me when I was initially making it because it kept wanting to bend up and not cut. It just wanted to slide around. Okay, so here's the secondary cuts, the good ones. I had to score the surface again. And then there's the soft plate, and it's time to go to cutting again. This is a technique that I actually learned while making completely different pieces. You sometimes make a small dragon head this way as well, where you cut away part of it to create the horns. It works okay. I've never done it very well. Granted, I've never made dragon heads very well in general. But that's another thing that I think I might try and do, because this is only the first iteration of this wand. I don't know if this is going to be the final one. I may make the back end of the wand just a dragon head, and we'll see how that looks as well. So that may be another video that you guys see earlier on in the future. Now, again, I'm just hopping back and forth. I've skipped out on showing you guys the heating process of all of these because it is a bit of a pain in the butt and it's very, very long and tedious. Now here I'm just bending all those tines back around so that it can hold something. It's not going to be holding anything right now, but it tends to be working. Now I did cut one of these slightly too small, and that's on me. It's a bit of a mistake I made. And here, what I did is I cooled it off so that when I'm hitting it, the talons don't de-shape from the heat. And then finally, I'm just forging everything out. And now here comes the fun part. I'm going to be twisting this. So I'm setting it into my vise, grabbing a pipe wrench, and then I'm going to go around once. I believe I go around, yeah, twice, or about twice. There we go. And then the next time I'll heat it up, I'll put it back in the vise, and then I'll twist it the opposite way around. And the reason I'm using a pipe wrench is because the teeth dig in, and they don't just slide like if it was just a square wrench. Makes life a little easier. I apologize for the glare, by the way, on the camera. I've only got one light in this shop, sadly. And I had no way of really blocking it out. I need to work on that. But here we are, so this is going to be the second twist, and I believe, again, it's only around twice, or roughly twice. And this is going to cause a really nice kind of almost optical illusion-y pattern, because when you look at it head-on, it looks wobbly. The actual straight piece looks wobbly and deformed, when in reality it isn't. It's actually a very nice straight piece. But it plays tricks on your eyes, and I quite like the effect and the look of it. So again, I'm skipping through all the heats rather than showing everything, because this video would, be probably about an hour rather than 12 minutes, even if it was sped up, because heating takes a fair bit of time. Here I made the mistake and I tried to twist it the same way. So I just go back and it grabs, and we go around once, and there's the second time. Now you do want to be careful when you are twisting, because you can cause material to shear, that is, crack and break at certain places, because there's just so much stress built up in that one area. Just inspecting it, I know it is very, very twisted and warped right now, and that's what I'm going to fix right now. So if you've got a piece that has a bunch of texture on it that you don't want to ruin with a hammer, it's very good to use a wooden mallet, or in my case, just a wooden stick, and beat it into submission using the wooden stick or mallet and another chunk of wood to hit on. In my case, it's my anvil stand. It's just a big giant stump. It works quite well. And then just straighten out the square part. I don't need to worry about that one because there's no special texture on it or anything like that. And then finally, I'm setting a D20 in the dragon's claw. Now, I'm doing this cold, and this is slightly dangerous because I could just shear off one of these if I bend too hard, so I'm making it so the D20 just barely fits in. And then I'm just going to squeeze everything and tap everything shut. And here I'm just using a pair of tongs to try and bend everything nice and gently. Now the piece right now is not hot at all. As you could probably tell, I was touching with my hands and it's not melting the dice at all. But that also brings in the challenge of hoping that I don't break any of these dragon's claws. And finally, I believe I'm done almost here. My hand's in the way because I don't know how to work with a camera yet, apparently. And I was just using a very small hammer to change everything around. Releasing everything, my camera fell back a little bit. But see, and you can see the small optical illusion-y pattern that happens. I've got the 20 side facing up for all that good luck that can happen. And there's not a very good picture of it. And then all I'm doing here is I'm just wire brushing it to give it a nice satin finish. There's a couple sparks that start flying, and that's just, believe me, it's not me being strong, it's my wire brush being very stiff. I wish I was that strong. But I'm just satining it up and making it look nice and pretty. And like I said, I don't know if this is going to be the final wand that I make. I might want to make a longer one, and I'm not sure if I like this twist. I like the twist, but I'm not sure if I want it to be just a normal twist, reverse twist, and then twist again, or if I want to do a Rubik's twist, which is a somewhat more complicated twist, but it's very pretty. And I'm going to be experimenting with that just in my own time. I won't be making a video of it. And yeah, that's kind of it. I've just been playing around with this. I should also mention why I haven't been posting as many videos as I was recently or earlier. The shop that I was initially working in, with all the grinding and everything, was being used to fix a vehicle, and that tends to be very difficult to run belt sanders and everything, as well as other power equipment, and record videos all in one go. So I went on a bit of a hiatus and practiced around with making wands and some other smaller stuff that I'm planning on working into the rest of the cast's gifts. And here I'm finally just satining up that last little bit. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of the new kind of voiceover. I'm thinking I might start doing videos like this. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see everyone in the next video. Bye-bye.